Hi everybody, Adam here. Welcome back to our Lego room. In today's video, we're taking a look at our progress with this awesome Lego grain elevator that we are building for an upcoming show that we're displaying at. Really happy with our progress on this build and how it's looking so far. Now, the build is based off of instructions by Jeff Pinkerton. They are available for sale on Rebrickable. Jeff has a ton of awesome instruction sets available on Rebrickable for sale. I'll include a link below, but highly recommend checking out his page. Now, with this build, I've followed his instructions, but I've changed the colors in a number of places. And I've also changed, based on the parts that I had, a few different sections of the model. And I've also added some interior support structure to the grain elevator that we'll talk a little bit about in a moment. But, on the whole, this is, the instruction set. This is based off the instruction set that he laid out. And it's really just mostly part swaps and some slight modifications. And it's really coming along well. The big thing that I'm happy with is the color that I chose. The default color in the instruction set is kind of a dark red maroon color, and I really like the red. I think it goes really well with the white doors and windows on the main grain elevator. And I think the roof color really fits well with it as well. So really happy with that color choice. When I think of grain elevators, I think of red and green ones. So this fits right in there. And, maybe at some point in the future, we'll build a green one to go with this. I think that would look really cool as well. Now, the build is not entirely done yet. There's really just one main section left to do. I need to build the pipe structure that comes down the front of the grain elevator. There's sort of pipes that come out at two different distances from the grain elevator and go down to the track below where the grain hoppers would be pulling up in front of the grain elevator. So I need to work on that. And the front of the grain elevator has two sets of track going by, and they are ballasted and in the back. So those are ready to go, and I won't be able to, put those two modules together until we are at the show because it's just too big given the space that I have at the moment. But those should fit really well together. And then another section that I may still do a little bit of work on is in the back here. You can see there's a sort of a paved driveway up to the doors of the grain elevator. And in the instruction set, they have kind of a rocky road connection to that paved section. Not sure yet what I'm going to do there, whether I'll try to fill some of that in or I'll do something else. And I would still like to add a little bit of foliage around the perimeter of the grain elevator complex, but that's still TBD. We'll see kind of how I feel and how other projects are going for that upcoming train show. But, those are the main things. There's still a few little details. There's a little area where I can put some a light over that door there. There's, some handles that I could put on the doors for the grain elevator. Don't know if I've got the perfect ones that I want, so I may leave it just like that for now, because it still looks cool as it is. But, by and large, this is done, and it's roughly 8,000 pieces, give or take. It's probably might even be closer to 8,500. As I mentioned, I put some support structure inside the main grain elevator body there, just to keep the walls from sagging inward. It keeps them at a good distance apart and gives them a little bit of extra structure. It also made it easier. There's kind of a floor that goes across the middle or sort of top third of the grain elevator there. Made it a lot easier to put that floor in and gave me a lot more confidence that this upper part of the grain elevator would have the support that it needs to sit up there and to not fall over at any point. I think that internal structure will also help when I'm transporting this grain elevator to and from the show. It'll make sure that there's no sort of back and forth wibble to the build, because it's quite a tall structure. It's quite huge when you look at it there, and I think that being transported in a vehicle, if it was not too secure, I would be worried about some of those walls potentially buckling a little bit. So this just gives me some peace of mind. It's not something that was in the instructions. It was easy for me to add. Doesn't add a ton of weight to the overall build. So I'm happy with that peace of mind. Now, some little details to note here. So the doors on the grain elevator do open there, so they can slide in that track. And there's a graded structure in there. Really happy with that. I think it would be interesting at some point to consider adding some power to this module, to some perimeter lights and possibly a few interior lights as well, because inside that area I think could benefit from some lighting. And it would make it, especially if you had some minifigures around there and some grain trucks that were hauling stuff to the elevator, I think that could look cool and could make it easier to see some of those details. And another area that could probably benefit from some lighting in the future is this little support structure here. Now, I have not put an interior inside here yet. It's pretty much a blank slate. The instruction set did have details on various objects and flooring that you could put in there. But for time and because of the parts, I just didn't have all the parts necessary for that interior. I've left it blank for now. It's not something that anybody else is going to notice, because you can't really see in there at the moment. But that's I guess a shortcut that I took in building this. I only worried about the exterior look of that support building. And you'll notice a couple spots here. I was short a few pieces along the roof line there. So there's some, a little speckly with some white and tan there. And I put in black profile bricks for the doorway here. You'll notice if we swing back around to the front here, that on the grain elevator, it has these doors here that actually work and move. Those are super old pieces though, really hard to come by. And I managed to get the 4 doors and the 4 support bricks for those doors to hitch onto. They were the last ones in Canada when I was ordering and looking at them. So I put them into the grain elevator proper, because I thought that was the part where they would really have the biggest impact. And then on this support building here, you can see it's just the profile bricks. It's like a black doorway. It's not something that I need to be opening and closing or doing anything with at the moment. So I think they work fine like that, and it gives the feeling of a door there. But that's another little shortcut that I've done at least for the time being. It's really easy if I want to go back in the future and swap those out with a more functional doorway when I'm maybe adding the interior to that building. So some different options and things for me to consider there. Now, one thing that you might ask is, how difficult was this build to do? I would say that overall, the instructions were super clear. The two hardest parts about this particular build, one, just the sheer volume of parts. Like I said, it's 8,000, maybe 8,500 parts in total to construct this. I did order a number of them on Bricklink, but I also harvested a number of them out of my own collection and bricks that I have. And, it's just a lot of bricks to wrangle together and to get tracked down, especially when you're doing color swaps like I did with the main color of the building. And then I made a few other tweaks as I went through, based on the look that I was going for and the bricks that I had. So, overall, that was one of the challenges, is just getting all these bricks together and, available for putting the build together. The other challenging part of this build was the roof structures. Those roof sections are quite sizable and very difficult, in my opinion, to get onto the structure. That's nothing against the model. That's just kind of the fact of using some of the different brick techniques to attach roof structures like this. It's hard to, make those connections secure and get everything pushed down just right. But I am happy with how everything turned out with the roof lines there. Everything is on, and I'm feeling pretty good about how secure they are. So, in the end, it was all good. Just a challenge working through that and getting everything to be really solid in terms of connections and well attached to the structure. But, like I said, overall, the instructions were super easy to follow, really clear about all the different steps. And the part list was easy to follow as well, even if I didn't follow, every item in the list. Like I said, I was making swaps for colors. And then in the case of some of those doorways, I swapped out, as I mentioned, the doors for these black profile bricks on the building over here, just because they were super expensive and hard to find. And, one of the things I like about Jeff's instruction sets, he always includes lots of foliage and greenery around the buildings. And, I think that I've got a number of his different instruction sets for various buildings. And, I'll be pulling from a few of those different ones to get stuff that I think will look nice around the grain elevator. But, one of the challenges with the Lego foliage pieces is just how rare and expensive some of them can be. So I'll be mixing and matching and trying some different things out and seeing what works best. But I expect that the foliage part there will be a work in progress. I'll get a first pass for this upcoming show, but it's something that I will work on sort of over time, and will continue to add to and modify based on, sort of how this grows on me over time. Now, one last thing, as you can tell, the entire structure at the moment is living on the edge of the train table here in our Lego room. And, it's currently a 2x4, 2x4 Mills module construction, which is, it's mammoth. It's a lot of space that it takes up. I built this for the show that I'm going to, but, now that it's built, I'm really liking the way that it looks, and I think it would be a shame to not get it integrated into our layout. So I'm going to be looking at ways that I can extend out the tabletops here in the Lego room, maybe over in that corner there or somewhere along that wall, so that I can get this finished structure integrated with the layout, the rail lines connected to the rail line of the layout, and make sure this has a permanent home. I think it would be a real shame not to have it sort of permanently out and on display in our Lego room. Because the alternatives would be to either maybe put it underneath the table somewhere, which would be a shame because you wouldn't be able to really see it and appreciate it. Or the other option would be to just take it apart after the show, and I definitely don't want to do that. Really happy with how it looks. Took a lot of time and effort to put it together, and I definitely want this to be a piece of our layout, and to have it for future shows as well. So definitely keep an eye out. We will be talking more about how we fit this into our layout here in an upcoming video. So overall, really excited about the look of this Lego grain elevator that I've built based off of instructions by Japaz. As I mentioned, I will include a link below to his Rebrickable page. Highly recommend checking it out. We've got a number of his instruction sets, and there will be more of his great builds showing up in our city in the future. And keep an eye out on the channel. This, as I mentioned, this building is going to be part of a display at a show that we are going to be displaying at next weekend. Can't wait to have this out and fully integrated with a big layout. I think it should look awesome. So if you have not subscribed to the channel, please make sure to do that so that you don't miss out on any of our great upcoming videos. And thank you very much for watching. We will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.